Reverend Luis Cortés.
Good morning, Honorable Council President Clark and honorable members of our Philadelphia City Council. Thank you for allowing me to briefly address the issue of Puerto Rico's humanitarian crisis and highlight some steps toward the relief that this body can effect, not only for the people currently suffering in Puerto Rico, but also for your constituents here in our city. Close to 150,000 Puerto Ricans live in Philadelphia, representing approximately 8.5% of our population. Almost all have not just one, but several family members in Puerto Rico, as well as friends and other loved ones. There are also 250,000 Puerto Ricans spread throughout the state, primarily in the cities of Reading, Allentown, Bethlehem, Lancaster, and York. As such, Puerto Rico's plight is being acutely felt in our Commonwealth and in our city. As a result of this Category 5 hurricane called Maria, Puerto Rico has suffered a complete loss of its basic infrastructure. This loss is comparable to the effects of Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. Currently, there is no electrical infrastructure left on the island, and it is expected it will take 4 to 6 months to restore it. Most of the island has no capacity for communication, either internally or externally. We are deeply concerned that 7 days into this event, we still don't know if 4 hospitals in the western part of the island are open. We do know that 4 functioning hospitals are overwhelmed and are partially working due to a lack of power or other basic resources. The Puerto Rican and Hispanic community elected officials of Philadelphia are of one accord. State Senator Tartaglione, State Representative Cruz and Vasquez, and Councilwoman Maria Quinones Sanchez. We ask that our City Council add your voice to theirs and hundreds of others asking Congress to pass a supplemental appropriations bill to ensure that there will be adequate resources in the FEMA Disaster Relief Fund and the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Disaster Recovery CDBG grant. We also feel that 10 days for the Jones Act is not enough and it needs to be extended. We feel the tremendous urgency of this situation and the need for immediate action. More than half of our organization, Esperanza's staff and stakeholders, are Puerto Rican or married into Puerto Rican families. Most of them have still not been able to hear from their loved ones a week into this catastrophe. Economic conditions on the island are well past the breaking point. We ask that you encourage the Treasury Department to ensure there is enough cash delivered to the island to address the economic situation. We also ask that you ask the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to take on the threat of the breach in Oaxaca. Finally, we can ask, what can City Council and the City of Philadelphia do directly? Can we consider matching what New York City is doing, as they have pledged to send over 1,500 volunteers, starting with 100 firefighters and police rescue workers? If the American citizens of Puerto Rico are not assisted, they will need to migrate in unprecedented numbers to the mainland of the United States. Pennsylvania and Philadelphia will need to receive hundreds, if not thousands, of people fleeing the uninhabitable conditions on our island. How do we as a city prepare? I believe our first responsibility is to repair the island of Puerto Rico quickly, and anything our city and state can do to aid in this repair should be considered an investment in our mutual prosperity. Thank you, Council.
Thank you for your testimony.
Angel Ortiz.
Good morning, Councilman.
Good morning. Thank you, President Clark and members of City Council. I haven't spoken in this floor for a very long time, and I'm very angry today because Puerto Rico is being treated with contempt by the federal government, being treated with contempt by the President of the United States. People are dying in Puerto Rico. It's no longer a matter, you see it every day on CNN and MSNBC and every TV station. 10 days waiver of the Jones Act is laughingly stupid. It takes 10 days from one vote to reach Puerto Rico from Jacksonville. 10 days. Puerto Rico, because of its colonial situation, cannot get food from any other source. Food has to be delivered to Puerto Rico. Food is scarce in Puerto Rico. The whole agricultural business of Puerto Rico has been destroyed. We are a colonial property of the United States. Wall Street right now wants $72 billion to be paid. $72 billion. There's no money for Wall Street in Puerto Rico. And Congress has to act on that. And this council and this party and this city has to stand up behind the Puerto Rican people. And we have to say to our congressional delegation, to our people, the debt that is owed to Wall Street has to be eliminated. Aid has to be introduced immediately in the House of Representatives. Today, Ryan has still not introduced a bill for emergency aid to Puerto Rico. Today. Trump has not asked the House of Representatives for a certain amount of money of aid to Puerto Rico. We, as a body, the representatives of the city of Philadelphia, we have to stand together behind Governor Wolf, behind the Puerto Rican community of this city, behind the community of this nation. We are 5 million strong in the continental United States. And what they're trying to do, I believe, is ethnic cleansing of Puerto Rico. The real estate has become very valuable. Gentrification of Puerto Rico will be taking place. People will have to evacuate the island because there is no jobs and no future there. We need what we call a Marshall Plan for Puerto Rico. And we need the government of the United States and the Congress to be responsible for 118 years of colonialism that have perpetuated this situation. We ask, we are not begging, we're demanding. Puerto Ricans have died in every war that the United States has fought in the last 100 years. Martin Luther King said that there's a check that is to be given to the African American community. There is an uncashed check to be given to the people of Puerto Rico. And we have to demand it, not just as Puerto Ricans from the city, but as citizens of the city of Philadelphia. That we stand up and we say, stop it. Mr. Trump, the ocean is big. The island is surrounded by water because that's what islands are. They are surrounded by water. And we speak Spanish, but we're not Mexican. So don't confuse us. You can't build a wall around Puerto Rico. We already have an ocean. And you cannot prevent us from coming in because we are citizens of the United States. We were made citizens in 1917 so we could fight in your wars. So now, we're asking, we're not begging. We want what is given to us, what is owed to the people of Puerto Rico. We don't want evacuation and gentrification of the island. We need the people of Puerto Rico to be able to stay in Puerto Rico and build a future in Puerto Rico. So I ask this council to stand up and challenge Trump and the House and the Senate in Washington and say, give to the Puerto Ricans what they're owed.
Thank you for your testimony.